This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
Place to Be Nation Wrestling Network. Welcome to episode 16 of NWA Crock and Roll. I am your host, Shawn Kidd, and we are on part 2 of our Before They Were Crockett watch. Last episode, we watched 7 matches from those folks that we've seen from April 85 to November 85, and we will watch another 7 tonight. But before we jump into that, I would like to introduce my 3 other horsemen for this evening. First up, Dr. G, how are you this evening?
Doing well. We've got some interesting stuff to talk about this evening. I think we're going to have some fun.
Yeah, well, I'm a little nervous because based on the pre-chat we had, I'm a little nervous about how much fun we're going to have at maybe my expense, but we'll see how that plays out. So, yeah, great to have you. So, Dr. G, welcome. Callum, how are you on? Callum Koloff.
Good evening, Shawn Kidd. Thank you for having me back for another 7 matches, including my Uncle Ivan.
The newly labeled the Scottish Kettle Nightmare, Callum Koloff.
Yes, that is the Scottish Russian kettle comrade.
We're gonna make sure we get that on our jackets when we do those one day. So
absolutely.
But anyway, go ahead, Callum.
No, I'm just saying thank you for good to. Always a pleasure coming on to talk Crockett and some things that are slightly less good than Crockett.
We'll see how it plays out this evening. And finally, but not least, our rotating fourth horseman. He was on our last episode, and he'll be on this episode tonight. Scott Shifflett, how are you doing tonight?
Shawn, I'm glad to be here. I'm glad I was brought back because I crapped on a couple of those matches, and I'm just glad to be here to talk about some decent wrestling, not so decent wrestling with the wonderful cast that you have, that you guys have.
Wonderful might be a overstatement. However, you are. This will be the last part you're joining us for. So feel free to shit on anything you want because you're not on this next episode anyway. So I feel like you kind of go wherever you want tonight. All right. So with that, gentlemen, are you ready to jump right into it?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right. So tonight we're going to be looking at matches of the Road Warriors, Ron Garvin, Arn Anderson, Terry Taylor and Krusher Khruschev, Ivan Koloff, Paul Ellering, and a doozy of a finale with Baby Doll. So let's button up because it's going to be quite a ride here. So we're going to start with our first match. It is from May 17th, 1985. It is the Road Warriors versus Larry the Axe Hennig and Kurt Hennig for the AWA Tag Team titles. So it's during our time frame of our watch over in Crockett, and Road Warriors are still the champions. And a month into our watch, here they are defending against the Hennigs. So I'll go over some points of the match, then I'll ask for your opinion, and then we'll go around and do ratings. Just for the record, from our last show, we had 2 matches tied for the best match. It was the Rock and Roll Express versus Dr. Death and Ted DiBiase, and the shockingly good Brett Sawyer versus Ric Flair. Both of them averaged out to a 3.18 match, so we'll see if anything surpasses that tonight. Based on what I might know, it's probably not. I might be a lone warrior in one of those. So anyway, let's jump right into it. So the Hennigs come out to Eye of the Tiger, and the Road Warriors come out to Iron Man. The crowd loves the Warriors, and they're just booing the shit out of the Hennigs. And the announcer is actually telling people to stay away from the ring, which I thought was funny because you don't hear that now in modern-day wrestling. But back in the day, the crowd used to storm the ring, so I did laugh at the ring announcer telling them to stay away. I did like this start with power spots and arm drags in between Animal and Kurt. There was a good, I like the standoff between Larry the Axe Hennig and Hawk, where they had like a shoulder tackle and they looked just like 2 hosses and they were slapping each other. I did say Larry had 0 issue going toe-to-toe with the Warriors, and I felt like Larry was trying to come across as a big, tough, grizzled veteran, and he looked really good. I thought with the Warriors, at least standing up against them. Animal later in the match clobbered a sick clothesline to Kurt. I thought the Warriors did a good job on the double team they did to Kurt. And then Warriors in the end get DQ for double teaming Kurt when Ellering comes in, and then Billy Jack comes in and makes the save. So before I give my thoughts on this, I am going to go around the horn and start with Dr. G. Dr. G, what did you think about this match?
You know, this match wasn't too bad. You're right about Larry Hennig. I thought that he really, he stacked up against the Road Warrior. He's a tough SOB, and it was interesting. I guess what you're going to see a lot of this for me tonight. We'll just start is it's just amazing how announcing does make a match, because some of these announcers are just dreadful. And you forget how bad. Now, I've seen this match before. I don't know where or why I watched it. I don't know.
Probably on AWA TV or something.
Yeah, I know I've seen this match. I hate those kind of finishes. Obviously, the finish wasn't so great, but Kurt could go with anybody. He takes a lot of punishment. But he also could work in the ring with anyone. And the Road Warriors themselves, I mean, they're still still a little rough around the edges, but I tell you, the crowd was totally into them. It's like
100%.
I mean, and I marked about that, them telling them stay away from the ring. I'm like, wow, now you wouldn't get that. You wouldn't even have to worry about that now. But it just was a different time. So I gave this match actually 2.5 stars. I enjoyed it because I love watching the Road Warriors. So
all right, I think that's fair.
We started off. I was like, all right, I think we may start off this pretty good. I thought this was a nice little starter to get us going for our 7 matches.
All right, great, Scott. What did you think?
First off, Larry Hennig probably could be Vader's dad and not Kurt Hennig's dad. That's what I was like, damn.
Yeah,
right,
I never realized what a hoss Larry the Axe Hennig was. He looked like a big hoss in this match. I was impressed.
Yeah, it was pretty, and like him going back and forth with Hawk, or wait, no, it was Animal, because for the first 5 minutes, as Dr. G was saying, the announcer was like calling the Road Warriors wrong, and I was like, it's the first day of school here, announcer. But I will say the Road Warriors just showed how they were just complete hosses. Like, Hawk powered out of a full Nelson. It was just awesome. You talked about that clothesline that they laid out with Kurt. They killed Kurt Hennig with that clothesline. Kurt sold it like $1 million. It was awesome. And one trope that I do love is because it used to piss me off as a kid, was when the ref doesn't see the face hot tag, which happens in this match. And I just adore that so much. I knew it was going to be a wonky ending because the Road Warriors were the Road Warriors in the 1980s. And I know that Kurt and Larry were big names. I knew this wasn't going to be a real
good
finish.
Good timing, too. It could have been the first father-son tag team combo to win the tag team titles, unlike the Mysterios last night at the time of this recording. It could have been the Hennigs.
I would much rather have them as with that compared to – that's a whole other topic. But I went close with Dr. G. I went 2 1/4 star on this match. I really enjoyed it.
Okay. And so we got a 2.5, 2 1/4 column. Wrap us up on this match, and then I'll give my thoughts.
Well, I went 2 1/4 as well. I thought it was good. I started off going, I'm not quite sure who this Kurt Hennig fellow is, but he looks like the perfect pro wrestler. But I thought, yeah, I mean, if you want to have your badass team look even more badass, just get Kurt Hennig to bump about for them. I mean, he was just doing his. Even in 1985, he had these sort of Mr. Perfect selling down to a T, and he was just bumping all over the place for them. I saw at the end another territory where Billy Jack Haynes is majorly over as well, which is he's been a surprise to me throughout the last year.
Yeah, he's like popping up here and there and just like in random spots, but here he is again. So yeah, he's quite active in '85.
Yeah. He's popping up. He's popping up all over the place. This is AWA. He's popped up in Crockett, and we've seen him in Florida. And he's everywhere he goes. He seems to be in a prominent position as well. So he's been a big surprise to me. But yeah, I've gone 2 1/4 stars as well. So it's it was a good match to start things off.
All right, and I also went 2 1/4 stars. It's interesting. You talked about Kurt's selling, whereas I felt like Larry the Axe Hennig was the flip-flop where he just wasn't putting up with any of the Road Warriors shit, and I kind of like that a little bit. But I was a big fan of him, especially because I have not seen that many Larry the Axe Hennig matches. So I liked it. I thought it was got good power moves by the Road Warriors. It's a good double teaming. Kurt selling, and then again, Larry the Axe was pretty good. So I also went 2.25 stars. So sounds like we're starting off on a good pace. And by the way, not the last time we're going to see Billy Jack Haynes in this watch, because in one of our next 2 episodes, you're going to see him in a match as well, because he's one of the ones we're going to cover. So, all right, so we're ready to go. So we're all starting off kind of on even ground. Are we ready to go into match number 2?
Let's do it.
All right, I feel like this one might divide us a little bit, because this one surprised me for a certain reason. So we are going to July 29th, 1983, and the match is Ron Garvin versus the Missing Link. And I haven't seen that many Missing Link matches. As you guys know, I'm a big Ron Garvin guy, like probably the biggest Ron Garvin fan you're going to see. And I was absolutely looking forward to this match for something different. So Mr. Olympia was supposed to be the original opponent for the Missing Link, but he is injured, so Ron Garvin has taken his place. The announcer, I laughed a little bit when he said the Missing Link comes from wherever Missing Links come from, which was pretty damn funny. And to start, I was shocked by some of the actual wrestling, because especially by Link, like I wasn't expecting like wrestling moves. I was expecting it more to be like a Georgie Animal Steel kind of thing with the Link. The crowd went bonkers on a Garvin drop kick, with Link sitting on the top rope, which sent him outside. The other note I made is Link is ripped, and he works Garvin's arm for so long, like extremely long, like a bear hug Billy Graham would do. It's just such a long thing on the arm. I also think Link has some good stiff-looking forearms. Garvin had a brief comeback with chops and things like that, but Link really dominated, and I was shocked because he literally did. It was an easy 3 after 2 elbows and a backbreaker, and I almost felt like this was a glorified squash for Link, and I was a little disappointed because I didn't get the Garvin I wanted, so I was a little shocked at the outcome of this match. So I will go to Scott. What did you think on this match?
Well, this might be a first here. Shawn, since this is probably my last podcast with you on Crock and Roll, I'm going out in a blaze of glory.
I didn't say it's your last podcast. It's your last on this series.
This is my first time seeing Ronnie Garvin, I think.
Oh, no.
I know. So, like, I had seen, like, pictures of him when, spoiler alert, he wins the world title. And he was not at all what I expected to see him here, just from a looks perspective. And I will say, Missing Link is really ripped, and it shocked me how, like, ripped he was.
Me too.
And I was like, wow. I will say that the arm bars did kill me, because it was, like, arm bar to death, I was like, match is pretty boring. But then, like, Ronnie Garvin, I'd always heard of like Ronnie Garvin's like slaps and chops. Oh my God, I think my chest was hurting after a couple of those slaps and chops because they were just amazing. And I will say Ronnie did a good job because Missing Link had used the armbar so much. He was attacking him with kicks as well, which I thought was really good, which surprisingly I was really enjoying in the match. And I will say this is probably a first and will never happen again. Missing Link reminded me of Luther Reigns, good body and a shit worker. So, surprisingly, I went 2.5 stars on this match just from Ronnie using like kicks because his arm had been worked on, and just like also the use of a leg breaker, which I think needs to come back as a nice little offensive move. That was used in the 80s and 90s, and you don't see it as much today. So, like I said, might be a little bit of a shock. I know I'm getting some marks because this is my first Ronnie Garvin match, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's funny. You went 2.5, which surprised me, but yeah, I didn't think Garvin did much in this. I felt like it was a glorified squash, and I didn't think Missing Link did that bad. I thought he shocked me with some wrestling moves, and I don't think he looked like a bad worker in this. Colin, what did you think?
Yeah, I was surprised. I was surprised with Missing Link as well. I was surprised that I've got the same note as Scott. He was a big boy. I was quite surprised. I always thought he was. Yeah, a George Steele type, but he had a bit of a gut on him, and he was just like not in like any shape that you would think he was. He was probably more my shape as opposed to a shape that you would be a professional wrestler in. But he was that surprised me. I've got a note that's the longest arm hold in history.
It's pretty long.
Yeah, but I've also got the same note as you about the commentary going, the Missing Link comes from wherever Missing Links come from. I thought it was an excellent.
But they couldn't come up with anything better. They're just going to say he comes from wherever they come from. They couldn't come up with anything better than that.
Yeah, it's like, but it's better than just your bog standard parts unknown. It's like the old Damien Demento from the outer reaches of your mind. If it comes from a bit of variety, never goes amiss. Yeah, so I mean, it was better after the arm lock finished. But I'm the same as you, Shawn. It was a very strange match. It's not as if. So when did you say this match was from?
1983. So
it's not,
literally, you're 2 years away from Garvin being in Crockett, and I guess we're what, a little over 2. Actually, we're a little over 2 years away from what we're going to see in December '85 from him, which we know is a big moment. So it's weird.
Yeah, so it's not as if Ron Garvin's starting out. I mean,
no, he's been around a while.
Yeah, it was very strange. And the also thing as well is, like, correct me if I'm wrong, right? But the arm lock, I understand the arm lock because Garvin's big thing is that he's got hands of stone and all that sort of thing. But the arm lock was on his right arm, and is he not left-handed? I
believe so.
Yeah, so it's like he's focusing on the wrong arm. I appreciated the limb work, but he was focusing on the wrong limb. Because you might as well do just a bit of.
Chad Campbell would knock a star off just for that.
Yeah, because it was just I understand the logic behind it, but just ask a question: what hand do you punch with? Yeah, I mean the first half felt like 3 days. The second half went at a nice clip. So I gave it 1.5. It was a lot better after the arm lock finished, and it turned into a pretty decent match after that.
Okay. So 1.5 for you, 2.5 for Scott. Dr. G, what'd you think?
Well, Callum, I thought I was the only one that was going to realize that about the working on the arm, because I was like, isn't Ronnie Garvin left-handed? So I was like, so I had that written down as well. The armbar stuff, yeah, a little too long. I understand that's a psychology thing. They used to do that a lot, 70s, 80s, even 60s. But, yeah, I just, maybe we're just retrained to that's just a little too much of that. I was surprised. I thought actually Link actually showed a lot more wrestling prowess than he did in WWE, So when he came, or WWF at the time, when he came to the WWF, he was used more as like a monster or, like a heel, like all big, power moves. So I was actually kind of shocked at how well he worked. I mean, he's not going to be a 5-star match wrestler. Don't get me wrong. I was surprised, and I was surprised that Garvin. I don't want to say Garvin got beat easily, but
he kind of did.
I didn't expect it though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's again, I know you're just picking the matches before you probably even.
I am, yeah.
Totally watched them, so because I was like, wow, because I knew how big of a Garvin guy you are, and I don't dislike Ronnie Garvin at all. I think obviously he wasn't the greatest stick man in the world, but he could work, and like you said, like Scott said, when he was chopping, boy, you could feel it through the TV screen, It's like it was like crazy. But I went 2 stars on this. I think because I was impressed with Missing Link, considering what I've seen, after that. I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying he's the greatest worker in the world, but he impressed me that he even went in a match that long.
Yeah, I agree. So just full disclosure, yeah, I'm a huge Ron Garvin fan. And when I was looking for Ron Garvin matches, there was one with Jake the Snake Roberts on there that piqued my curiosity because they had a really good feud in Georgia Championship Wrestling. But then I saw a match with him against the Missing Link. I'm like, you know what? When am I ever going to watch this ever again? So that's why I picked it. And I'm like you. I know you're not a big Garvin fan, but he's a great, decent wrestler. But he's not the reason why I enjoyed this match. It was more about the Missing Link, which totally shocked me. And I'll just flat out say it. He jobbed out. Like, he got squashed in this match, and the Missing Link surprised me. So will I go watch another Missing Link match? Probably not. But you know what? I got my fill, and he was halfway decent in this. And I went 2.25 stars on this. So the first 2 matches, guys, were pretty even keeled. So, and I will say 2 of you have had matches we've watched higher than me so far. So maybe my shit takes aren't that bad. No one's going to comment on that, Scott or Colin?
We will see by the end of this podcast, because I think we're going to have a big
I foresee
difference.
One. Match number 5, I think there might be some healthy debate as we get to that.
Ooh.
All right. Our next match is the Natural Butch Reed versus Marty Lund, who obviously becomes Arn Anderson. This is from March 25th, 1983. This is Butch Reed's debut in the Houston area. So we'll jump right into it. There's some great shine to start with Reed with a backdrop and a drop kick. Arn in this match is a bump and sell machine for Reed, and it's really clear here that Arn's there to make Reed look really good. I thought there was a really nice arm drag sequence and drop kicks with surprising Arn leapfrogs, which I was shocked at. He looked like a damn luchador with his leapfrogs. Butch got a super impressive press slam on Arn, and then he wins with a flying shoulder block. I thought this was a fun match. Again, it was definitely made to have Reed look strong with Arn more as the enhancement. But both men played their role really, really well, and it was a great debut for Reed. And then, obviously, in about 7 years, we would see these two hook up again in the Doom versus Horseman feud. But it's kind of a nice little peek under the tent, and I enjoyed it. I went 2.25 stars. So, Scott, what did you think of this match?
I enjoyed it as well, Shawn. Marty, I have Arn down in my notes, just an FYI. So Arn's selling is just top notch. Even back then, as you know, he's definitely like a jobber, basically right here. But and Butch Reed, like that was the first time. Like I remember some of his Doom work. I got to go back and rewatch it. But he has a nice drop kick that sends Arn to the floor, and Arn tries to act like that threw him over the top rope. Was like he should be disqualified. So I thought that was a nice little touch. And Butch Reed's just so athletic, like you mentioned with the like when they were running the ropes and they were doing like the jumps and everything. It was just great. But then like it runs into a part where like they're working the arm again, and this was like the second match in a row where I'd seen like just them working the arm. It was just a little. I know like Dr. G said that was a thing back in the 60s, 70s, and some part in the 80s, so it was just a little repetitive to me. But I do love what Butch Reed was rocking Arn with some punches, and Arn was doing like the drunk sell. I love that. And you mentioned the Gorilla Press Slam was great, and the shoulder block was great as well. I went 2.75 stars on this. I was really impressed. I wish they had like 5 or 10 more minutes, to be honest.
Yeah, I think Arn was more of a jobber at this point, but for what it was pretty good. So wow, 2.75 stars. That's pretty good. Okay, Dr. G, what did you think of this one?
You know me with Arn. I can watch Arn, and this just shows you that you could tell that he was going to be a star one day, even though he had to do the job. That's just part of the process. What I try to do when I'm judging these matches, like you were saying with the whole thing with the arm bars and all that, I try not to. I mean, if it's too much, I'll hold it against it. I try to take it back for what it was and the time. I try to keep that into consideration when I'm trying to judge these things. So, yes, sometimes it's just like in the last match, it was a little much at times. But for this match, I was okay with it. I just, what? I'm actually becoming a little bit – I'm respecting Butch Reed a little bit more.
Yeah, he's kind of like Billy Jack, where now we've seen a lot of Butch Reed, and hell yeah, he's grown on me.
I mean – I think that but Butch Reed is, again, when some of these guys come to the WWF at that time, they didn't have long matches. It was pretty much quick matches. If they were big guys, they were going to be power guys. You didn't really get to see their true value, but I really think that Butch Reed is a really pretty good worker. And what could you say about Arn? And it's funny because in his podcast now, Arn is they're going back to like starting his career. So he is like right now they're talking about when he was in Watts' territory. So this might have been around that time because he wasn't Arn Anderson yet.
Leave it to Conrad. Leave it to Conrad to copy some PTBN podcasts. Shocker.
That's what they do. We got to get some rights here. We got to start copywriting things.
Yep.
But I will say this, that Arn, you could tell at this time that he was paying his dues. But I think a guy like Watts, you could tell he was seeing something in this guy, and obviously you could see what happens a couple of years later. He's He was almost a main event guy, close to a main event guy. So, I went 2.5 stars on this match.
Okay, so 2.5.
Yeah, I mean, I know. I think when we were talking beforehand, I mean, I I think it's more the latter half that we're probably going to get a little bit more feisty about.
I agree, because right now I'm at 2 1/4, Scott's at 2 3/4, you're at 2 1/2, and again we're kind of on the same roll with all the first couple matches we watched. So
yeah, I mean, and you really have to love watching Arn in these times, but it's so funny. He looks the same age no matter what time. I mean, you can go put a match on 10 years later. You know what I'm saying? It's just it's funny, because what do you figure? He's in his 20s here?
I think he's in his early or mid 20s here, which is crazy to think about.
It's good stuff. But I was glad you put this on, because it's like before he was on Arn Anderson, which was kind of cool. It was weird hearing his real name, but it was kind of at the same time.
It's kind of like Billy Gunn when he's Kip Sop. You don't really want to hear the real names. You want Arn Anderson and. Well, even Billy Gunn's kind of a shitty name, but that's neither here nor there.
And I know that this has been said ad nauseum, but Arn looks 45 right here, and I know he's like early 20s, but the man has looked the same age.
Those
forever.
damn leapfrogs he did sure looked like he was a Mysterio.
Oh no, that was great. That was the most I'd seen him move with the leapfrog. It was amazing.
Yeah, those leapfrogs were incredible. Callum, wrap us up on this match.
I just want to echo what Dr. G was saying. He's about Butch Reed. He's like Billy Jack Haynes. He's been another surprise for me as well. Again, I only knew him as the Natural from like when Sky Sports would do would show old WWF stuff from like 87, 88. So like to see him on these has been an eye opener in a good way. I thought this was another really good, another really good match. Typical Arn. I've got a note here, which if you say, oh, it's a typical such and such match, sometimes it's a bit of a put down, but not when you're talking about Arn Anderson. It's always a very high level. There was one person in the crowd. I don't know what they were saying, but they were continuing. They were just shouting something. It was like they were screaming at the top of their voice. I don't even know if they were saying a word, and it was quite annoying at some point. There was a point where Butch had Arn up for a power slam, and he almost dropped him on his head. So that was a bit of a scary one. But other than that, everything was just was excellent. So I've got 2.5 on this one as well. I really enjoyed this one.
All right, so guys, we are on an even path with the first 3 matches. So we're still holding it together, so I'm still waiting for that big ball to drop. So let's move on to back 4. So Scott, just FYI, I'm gonna just throw it out there. You somehow missed this watch, correct? This match?
Yeah, I'm a dumbass. When you said 7, I started going through my notes and I was like, I only got 6, and then I scrolled up on our messages and I was like, because I skipped right over this match.
All right, so I'm just gonna put you down for 4 stars on this match. And then we're going to move on. So Scott's at 4, and I'm going to jump right into this match. So it is Nikolai. So we get to look at 2 people here, Terry Taylor and Krusher Khruschev for both of this match. So I just slot Taylor into this match, so that way we don't have to watch another Taylor match as part of the series, because I'm sure none of us want to really see that. So it's Nikolai Volkov and Barry Darsow at the time versus Terry Taylor and Hacksaw Jim Duggan. So kind of an important. This is sometime in 1984. I don't have the exact date, but kind of a important moment, because if you remember when we first started this pod, we were wondering when exactly did he become Krusher Khruschev, and why is he from America? And here it is right here. We get the opening promo from Nikolai right away, renaming Darsow to Krusher Khruschev. And this is kind of a big moment for our podcast, so I'm glad we tracked this one down. It wasn't even on purpose. So it was really crazy staring at these 2 guys, because they are 2 tag team champions with different partners in 1980s WWF. Literally, Volkov is a tag team champion here in a year, and then Darsow will be a tag team champion in another 3 years. So really interesting pairing, these 2. I never would have thought that would have happened. So it's good to find this match. All right, so we go from the promo and we cut to the match, and all 4 men are fighting, and the ring is shaking, and the crowd is just super hot. Like literally, the ring is shaking while they're fighting, and the crowd just going ballistic. Duggan is absolutely hysterical to me, beating up Nikolai. The run of Nikolai's hand to the tag with Khruschev, who jumped off the apron, which I thought was a really fun comedy spot. Duggan was a hoss in this. I thought most of the work, and he did most of the work on the Russian, and dominates with like clotheslines and knee drops. He also took majority of the beating as well at the start. Taylor took much of the back half of the beating, but I thought he looked good trying to fight out of it, so I can't shit on Taylor too much. The Russians work well as a team. The match breaks down to all four in the ring. And here we go, another Butch Reed appearance out of nowhere. Does the top rope shoulder tackle to Taylor, puts Nikolai on top. I was really confused about the ending, but in the end, I believe Nikolai won the match. But it broke down, and the heels beat down the faces until the Rock and Roll Express run in. I enjoyed this match. I thought there was some good comedy. There was some good stiff stuff. I actually thought Khruschev and Nikolai were a pretty good team. And what I wrote down on my notes is I thought it was a fun brawl with 3 hosses and Terry Taylor. But I enjoyed it, and I went 2.5 stars. So since Scott went 4 stars and shit the bed and didn't watch it, I'm going to go to Dr. G first. What'd you think?
The one thing I noticed in all this, I agree with you, Shawn. It was, a good brawl. For the most part, I enjoyed most of it. The hosses going at it. But I realize, I know that it's weird to even say this because obviously later in his career he wasn't, but I thought he was used better in WWF than he was here. Nikolai really, I don't know. He just seemed like he was off. Like he wasn't. You get what I'm saying? Like just like the way he was trying to like throw his punches, and I don't know. He just.
See, I always thought he was big and lumbering in the WWF. I was never a fan of any of his matches in the WWF.
Yeah, but maybe because he was with Sheik. I mean, Sheik was a good tag team partner for him, so yeah, maybe that's why. I just don't remember. I don't know. For some reason, he was really glaring to me in this match. Like he was really slow, and like it almost looked like he was, like he looked 10 years later, when he was in the $1 Million Corporation or whatever, So that's why I went 2 stars on this just because I didn't really care for Nikolai too much, which I like Nikolai normally. Like I said, I like the character of Nikolai, not necessarily the way he wrestles. And it was I thought that was great that we could see. I mean, I knew that. Darso was named Krusher Khruschev at some point. I didn't realize it was at this point. I actually thought it was done in Crockett, but I guess not.
Yeah, it wasn't even intentional. It just happened to be the same match.
Yeah,
so that worked out well.
That was great to see. But Terry Taylor, I mean, he didn't do anything bad or anything wrong, but it was kind of more about the other 3 guys, it seeed like to me. And
yeah, he was just kind of
I was a little confused.
It's kind of like what peg doesn't fit in the circle? Oh, it's Terry Taylor.
It's true. No, it's absolutely right. And then the ending. Yeah, you're right. It was a little confusing, but those are the type of endings. Watts loved those type of endings at that time. So,
all right.
So yeah, I went 2 stars.
All right, Callum, what did you think?
I went 2 stars as well. I've got to know here, it's continuing the trend of sort of the weird matches that we saw a couple of last time. Where I didn't know, I couldn't tell if it was a good match or not. And then
it's funny you said that because I was the same way. I was like, man, 2.5 was kind of high, I thought, but I didn't mind the match. It was another match where it's just like it's weird and you didn't really know how to feel.
Yeah, because that was my first note. My second note is 10 minutes in and no notes, but it's not an awful match by any stretch. It was just a weird one. I thought it was funny that Duggan was getting a major pop for threatening to murder the referee at one point. And then I also noticed that Krusher Khrushchev's hair looked as if it was much shorter in the match than it was in the pre-match promo. So I don't know if the promo had been like a few or weeks before this match. And I think the ending could have been better shot. I mean, I think this is probably played better off in the arena than it did on TV, or when it was getting filmed. But then at that point in time, it's not really a television business, so it's not a major issue. But I've gone 2 stars. Yeah, it was a strange one, but not a bad match by any stretch.
All right, so I went 2.5 because I enjoyed the brawl. So that's the highest match score I've actually given tonight. Scott gave it 4 stars by default. Calvin 2 stars and Dr. G 2 stars. I'm kidding. We're gonna put NA for Scott to keep this even keeled. So Scott, we'll just put you down for 2 stars. How's that?
Sounds good.
All right.
I'll do better.
All right. Yeah, do better next time when I invite you on a show, okay?
Yes.
All right. I'm kidding. All right.
You are like Nick Aldis.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I can be. Anyway, before we're going to take a brief break because I think the next match is where we're kind of perhaps going to go between the divide and start down a path that could be interesting. So before we get to match number 5, we're going to take a quick break, and we will be back on the other side with NWA Crock and Roll episode number 16. Stay tuned.
Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true. You're a pal and a confidant. And if you threw a party, invited everyone you knew, you would see the biggest gift would be from me, and the card attached would say thank you for being a friend.
Place to Be Nation Wrestling Network. Welcome to the second half of Crock and Roll, NWA Crock and Roll number 16. Before we are Crockett, we are on part 2 of our 4-part series. We have talked about the first 4 matches, and now we're going to dive into match number 5, which I'm interested to hear everybody's thoughts on it because what I'm being foretold or what I'm foreshadowing is this might cause a little bit of divide. So we are going back to August 28th, 1978. We are returning to Madison Square Garden. It is Ivan Koloff versus Bob Backlund, who is the world champion, I believe, at this time. And so Ivan comes out, and guys, we've seen this robe already before in Crockett. Ivan comes out with his Dracula robe that I thought was funny with Vince on commentary calls it satanic. It's a satanic robe, so I like that. And he's also managed by Captain Lou Albano. It has also been 5 years since Ivan was the champion, and Backlund is out with Scotland, who seems like Scotland's always out with the baby faces in this time frame. Backlund does a hip toss leg scissors, showing his strength for both, which I thought was really great. Guys are pretty even height and build wise. Ivan with leg scissors of his own. That Backlund had, he does like a headstand out of it, which I thought was pretty impressive. There's a lot of leg scissors battles, and I'm sure the leg work is where you guys might shit on this a little bit because there's a lot of leg work going on. And I even made the note, if you like limb work, and based on if you like limb work based wrestling, this is for you. And if it's not, probably not. So I'm interested to hear what you have to say. Backlund showed incredible strength at one point, basically lifted Ivan up with one arm and puts him on the top rope and slaps the shit out of him, which I thought was amazing. There's some nice pin attempts by Koloff. There's a knee drop that he hit. Well, he goes for a knee drop that he hit Bruno on, that he won a world title, but he misses it. But then he hits a sick top rope knee to Bob from the top rope to the outside. Literally jumps from the top rope and just clobbers Bob in the head with it to the outside. And then Koloff is awarded the match on a rest stoppage due to a cut at 30 minutes and 29 seconds. So before I give my thoughts on this match, I am going to cautiously listen to what you guys have to say, and I am going to start with Colin first.
So, Bob Backlund, first of all, way ahead of his time. Did you see the lockdown haircut that he had?
He is way ahead of his time, 100%.
I mean, way ahead of his time. He was also way ahead of his time because he did a head scissors. So I've got a note down here, Lucha Backlund, 5 stars.
Yes.
He also had he was on the second rope for a while, and then he did 2 kicks at the top of the head, so that's almost high flying. And it's like the most athleticism we've seen from a match in the 70s in the last 2 episodes. I did put the match as definitely I don't know when I wrote this, but it said the match is already better than Bruno Graham. Because
that wasn't that hard.
Because there was infinitely more happening. And the long holds that they were doing, they didn't seem as bad in this one. Because when Ivan put them in, so the one thing I remember from the Graham Bruno match before I fell asleep during it was that when Graham had him in a bear hug, Bruno just didn't seem to be doing anything, and vice versa. But you can see Backlund was desperately trying to get out of every hold that Ivan had put him in.
Yeah, there was like a sense of realism to Backlund in this. Like it felt real.
Yeah. And I very much appreciated the effort that he was putting in to make it look. I mean, he was the whole. It's not as if he was doing it like really outlandishly to like. What is it? Selling for the back row of the. What was it? They say selling for the back row of the audience, like making it really obvious anyway. But it was. You could tell that he was trying to get out, and I appreciated that. And the last couple of minutes I thought were really good right up until the end, which baffled me because Backlund. I had to check it. This and Backlund was the champion at this point.
Yeah, and he didn't lose the belt. That was weird,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
If he loses by ref stoppage, surely he loses the belt.
Yeah, I didn't get that either. That took me off guard.
So that was a bit strange to the point that I had to go and double check if he was the champion at this point, but he definitely was.
Mm-hmm.
But you know I've got love for Ivan Koloff from watching in the last year. I think he's been one of the highlights of the whole year. I went 2.5 stars on this one, Shawn.
Wow, Callum, I'm shocked. I thought you were toying with me a little bit on this one. I think
I enjoyed it. It was a lot better than the Bruno match and the Bruno Graham match, and I thought there was enough happening to keep my interest for the whole match. So I enjoyed it. So yeah, right down the middle, 2.5.
I am pleasantly surprised at that. So I'm very proud of you for that, Callum. Big props for me. I can't shit on you.
I aim to please.
You did tonight. You pleased me. All right, let's go to Scott, see what he does. Scott, you're up.
You suck up, Callum.
I'm looking forward to this one.
So I have 2 highlights from this match.
Just be careful what you say about this match.
I have 2 highlights. The first one is Koloff looks like a vampire. I did like that.
Oh my God.
The second one was the knee drop to the head, the kick from the head from the top rope. That was awesome.
That was badass. Yes.
The sad part was the things that I liked were literally 30 minutes apart.
You're so full of shit. You are fucking out of your mind. Go ahead. Keep going. I'm listening.
So I will say I also did like Backlund. Like it was weird seeing him with curly hair. I'm used to him like having the buzz cut, so that was nice. And like the head scissors was pretty interesting. And then they lost me. The first 16 minutes I have test of strength and head scissors. That's all we're doing. Losing my will for everything is one of my notes right here.
I'm losing my will to have you on this show.
I told you I was going for broke. I've thought about everything but this match while watching the match. And keep in mind, guys, I was in a good mood watching this because I was watching this on my birthday and was like, "Hey, that's not
what a great birthday present this match is."
Yes.
Can you return it?
I wish I could. Dr. G.
You shove it right up your ass. But go ahead.
Wow. And like I understand limb work, like, but this was just like done to death. And then like, I says Backlund has fire at the end. Where the fuck was this during the match? Sorry for the language right there. And then the bell rang randomly like I was watching a 1996 Nitro match. I guess I found out it was by ref stoppage at the end. I went 1.5 stars.
Oh my God.
I will say this is miles and miles better than that Billy Graham match you made me sit through. Oh gosh,
anything's better than that, I think.
Sit through last time.
1.5 stars. Jesus Christ. All right, Dr. G, what did you think?
Yeah, you know what? Then you're going to hate me too because that's exactly what I want.
Yes!
Yeah.
No, because
Dr. G, this is your wheelhouse. Time frame. Are you kidding me?
No, but come on. 16 minutes, the first 16 minutes was like I was ready to fall asleep.
Like out of everybody on the show, Callum would be the last one I think would align with me. At least
me too. I'm very shocked there. And then I wonder, wow, you could just tell the disdain. Vince McMahon's like, when I take over this freaking company, you could just tell by his, like there's times that he doesn't even talk. It's like he must be like, okay, we're definitely not going to have this armbar shit going on for 16 minutes. We're going to have another announcer with me.
No, we're going to bring Cyndi Lauper in. That's what we're going to do on my watch.
But now I wonder why he got so bitter sometimes because listen, 2 great wrestlers in their own rights, Ivan Koloff and Bob Backlund, but I don't know. The first 16 minutes just lost me there. I agree with Scott on that. And I'm usually pretty patient. I could be patient sometimes, but I don't know. But definitely better than Graham and Bruno. Don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking that. I always thought it was interesting when you watch it. Like they announced in the WWF at that time, they announced the managers first for each side. If there was 2 managers, I always thought that was interesting. Bob Backlund, listen, there were times where Bob Backlund had those great explosions, and the crowd went crazy for him. Just like if he were Bruno. I mean, when he had the big spots, the crowd went crazy, which, that was the MSG crowd. But come on, if that was going on today, you'd hear the boring chants like you couldn't believe. Now, obviously, we're conditioned differently today.
But weren't you the one that said earlier that you take into account the time frames of the matches you're watching?
I did say that, but I did say also that when an arm
Scott,
bar
quit laughing. Go ahead, Doc.
It goes too long.
We're seeing the mega powers explode right now.
Dr. G and I very rarely disagree, so this is an interesting moment in this podcast history. Keep going.
It is. This is. I knew you and I were going to disagree on this. I said I even wrote it down, saying Shawn and I are going to disagree, guarantee. Again, I don't have a problem with the whole arm bar. Just you don't have to do 16 minutes of this test of strength and arm. You know what I'm saying? It's just I understand the psychology sometimes with it, but it's like, all right, enough already. But again, when there were times where the match picked up a little bit, those parts were pretty good. There just wasn't enough of them. So I'm not saying it's a total stinker of a match. It just I just couldn't find myself like glued to it, I guess. And when I like I said, when I'm find myself like if I'm looking on my phone or looking on the computer at something else, then I know that it's losing my attention. So and that's how I kind of judge it. So yep, I want 1.5 stars on that. So I know we're disagreeing. This is probably the first time you and I've had a disagreement.
No, it's more frightening to me that you agree with Scott, because that's bullshit. Wow. So Callum, I am totally stunned at Dr. G's. I'm just stunned. Callum, what are your final thoughts on what these two just ranked this match before I give my thoughts?
I think it's a fair enough statement to make for both of them. I don't disagree with their thoughts. I just obviously thought that the match was slightly better. I'm not going to completely eviscerate them the way that you want me to at this point in time, Shawn. I know you
want to eviscerate anybody. You leave that to me. So I'll make you look the bad guy. I thought, yeah.
But yeah, I'm quite surprised that me and you are the two that's disagreeing with each other. And if the mega powers have exploded, does this make me the British beefcake to your Hulk Hogan?
I don't know who's going to be the Zeus backup for Dr. G. Does that make Scott Criscolo Zeus? Is that what we're doing?
Boy. I'm in a lot of trouble with these Zeus.
No, listen. So here's what's interesting. And Scott, I'm going to make a comment in this, and Dr. G, I'm a little surprised by yours, but I'm going to justify a little bit why I think Scott feels the way he does. Even in my notes, I put, before I give my thoughts, I said, I even put on my notes, I would understand why some might not like this match.
You should have just put Scott.
No, I said some, and here's why. It was old school mat work, and if you like old school mat work, limb work, and just old school wrestling, this match is for you. And I have somewhat of a balanced taste in that. I like that stuff. I think Colin brought up some good points about, there were some slow parts, but they kept it going quick enough that I felt that it added to the match. And I thought Backlund looked fantastic. I thought Koloff looked pretty good. Like we said, that knee to the outside to the head of Backlund was outstanding. So guys, before I give my ranking, Scott, what do you think I gave this match?
3.5 stars.
I gave it 3.5 stars.
Ooh.
I absolutely love this match. 100%. I was all in. I loved it. And I will stand on that mountain and raise that flag proudly.
I thought maybe you went 2.5, 2 3/4. I didn't think you'd go 3.5. Wow.
I went 3.5. Listen, for me, the 30 minutes of this match went by super fast. I don't know what match you guys were watching, but you must have been watching. Maybe Scott didn't watch this one either because he forgot to watch it. So,
wow.
Anyway.
I even mentioned, Shawn, how I love the knee to the outside. And
Yeah, you probably fast forwarded to that. That's what you did. You fast forwarded to the end. That's what you did.
Oh God.
That's how I get appreciated inviting you to our show, and that's what I get. But that's okay. I mean, Dr. G, I don't have a choice. He's a co-host, so I won't shit on him, but I will shit on you.
I'll just take it all then. I got you, Dr. G. It's fine.
Yeah, well, you know what?
Go ahead. Doc.
I usually do like a mixture of the mat work and all that. It just was too long for me. That's it. I mean, that's, you know.
All right.
That's
So
how
note this in history. Episode 16, Dr. G and Shawn disagree for the first time in history on a match. So we'll see when that happens again.
Shawn, I knew I was going to be low. I figured Dr. G was going to be in the middle. I knew you were going to be the highest. But my fellow millennial here, Callum, just.
I am very proud of Callum. Callum, you gained some steam in my opinion of you this evening. So good job, my man.
Yeah, well, there's, I think it's very well known that I've got a disdain for Wahoo McDaniel and the absolute.
Until we get to Wahoo, then they'll hate each other.
No. Okay, see, I wasn't going to bring up Wahoo tonight, but you did. And I will tell you, the Wahoo match that I have selected, I guarantee you're going to love the match. There's no doubt about it.
No, do you know what? If I do, I do. But that's not the point I was going to make. Before you go all Shawn and jump in.
Go ahead. Crock and Roll exploding into Steve's mind.
He told you.
That's me, Shawn, back to normal now.
All right, go ahead.
But it was. I can't remember what my point was. Oh yeah, I have no real preference. I don't dislike heavy mat work and stuff like that. It's if a match keeps my attention, then I can't say it's a bad match. The Wahoo Ric Flair match was 45 minutes of a steaming turd in the middle of the ring. It didn't keep my attention whatsoever. This one at least kept my attention enough that I thought it was a watchable match, and that's why I went slightly higher. But if there was, I can see like Dr. G's point. If you're looking at your phone during it, then you can't call it a good match. But this one kept my attention, so that's why I had to rank it a wee bit higher.
Yeah, all joking aside, like I said, I did make the note that I also understand why some might not like it. So Scott and Dr. G, I can't shit on you too much because if I made that note, I also realized why maybe some would not. So just to be fair, but I still think you're both wrong. So all right, we're gonna jump to our next match. So the next two matches, I'm actually interested to see what you guys think about our next match, but I think we're all going to agree on the last match. So our next match, we are actually looking at Precious Paul Ellering when he was a wrestler. And it is one-man gang and Killer Khan, who I have not seen outside a WWF environment, which was also surprising to me, against Paul Ellering and Mr. Olympia. And Khan and gang are managed by Skandar Akbar, and Khan is the Louisiana champion. So I can't think of anybody that says Louisiana more than Killer Khan. He just screams New Orleans and Louisiana to me. But anyway, Olympia is the Mississippi champion, so I kind of like these state champion things, which is kind of cool. I made the note that Ellering is jacked and he's bleached blonde. And again, like I said, it was weird seeing Khan for me, as I've never seen him outside this. I laughed at Watts putting over Mr. Olympia's martial arts ability, and Ellering's talking about Ellering's children's fans, like the children love Paul Ellering, which was also very funny. The match was only 4.5, but it was fast paced. So I thought it was pretty even. Khan hit a savage knee from the rope on Ellering to win, and I thought it was a quick, fun little tag. But before I give my thoughts, I will go to Scott first. What did you think of this quick match?
Well, it was weird seeing Ellering not like at ringside with the Road Warriors, so that was jarring. I will say he looks like baby superstar Billy Graham right there.
He does a little bit.
I was imagining when Petey Williams was little Papa Pump with Scott
like
Steiner.
Paul Ellering. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was just like that, and I thought it was interesting. I will say that Paul did have some shitty drop kicks, so I know he ended up blowing his knee out. I'm not sure if that was before or after this, and that's why he stopped wrestling, but he had some crappy drop kicks. It was interesting seeing Killer Khan because I'd just seen him in like PWI magazines and everything, and it was just seems like more of a squash match than any we've had tonight. Actually, I went 3/4 of a star. It was not seen all these people before that, but who was Mr. Olympia? I know I should probably know this.
He was really big in the Mid-South. I think he like in early like early 80s Mid-South, he was a popular wrestler there.
Okay, so it wasn't like JYD like
no,
someone
he's
under.
like he's your Mississippi heavyweight champion. How do you degrade such an athlete?
No, I didn't know if it was like a big time wrestler with like his like the Midnight Rider or something. Like
no, he was kind of a babyface staple in the Mid-South.
Okay.
So you went 1 star on it?
I went 3/4 of a star.
Oh, 3/4 of a star. Okay, noted. All right, I am going to go to Dr. G next. What do you think?
You know, Mr. Olympia was a wrestler named Jerry Stubbs. He was like a kind of a jobber guy or guy that, they used. And, he was more of a territory kind of guy. So nobody that's, ultra famous. But when it comes to Paul Ellering, I knew that he was a big, power lifter and, worked out bodybuilder, did all that. I didn't realize how ripped he was. I mean, if he was taller, he's just as big as any of the 2 Road Warriors. Mm-hmm. I mean, he was really big at this point. I mean, he had to have 23, 24-inch arms at that time. He was a little sloppy in the ring. I thought, I would say this one I thought was more of a squash than any of the obviously.
Let me tell you how hard it was to track down a Paul Ellering match. That's why we got this one. It was very hard. Yeah, it's hard to find.
It is very hard. That's why I was saying when I saw him, I didn't realize how big he was. I knew he was pretty muscular guy, but I didn't realize he was this jacked. So yeah, I went a star on it. I mean, it just, to me, it was just kind of like a squash match. It was neat to see. I have to say, thank you for picking it just so we could see what Paul Ellering looked like, at that time. That was kind of neat to see that. Killer Khan, obviously always read about him in the magazines and.
He had the Andre feud. He's the one that broke Andre's leg, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. And then he had a feud in the mid-'80s with Hogan over the title.
Exactly. That's what I kind of remember him most for. But other than that, there was really nothing spectacular about the match. So, I mean, I didn't want to go like a dud on it, but it was neat to see a Paul Ellering, so I'll go with that. And I just went a star on it.
Yeah, I also went a star on it for kind of the same thing. It was kind of a cool thing to see Ellering back then. I didn't think the match was god-awful. I think it was a fine little TV match and nice little squash. But, yeah, I went 1 star on it. Colin, what'd you think?
I went 1 1/4 on it. I thought so. My first question was about Mr. Olympia as well. I was going to ask, is it Arn Anderson in a mask? Because I know when he first started, he went under Mr. Olympia as well. I believe listening to these or something along those lines. Listening to one of the early shows of his podcast. And then I'm looking at the guys in the ring and I'm thinking there's not going to be a lot of finesse in this one. It's just going to be a bit of a slugfest. But I thought it was good. Ellering was a lot better than I thought he was going to be. And I thought the match was a lot better than it was, because you look at it, it's like a 4 or 5 minute match, and you don't think it's not going to be it's not going to set the world alight. But I thought it was good. It all felt like it was a longer match that was sort of condensed down into 4 or 5 minutes. So if they had a wee bit more time to stretch it out, it might have been a bit better. But no, I didn't think it was a bad match at all.
Yeah, I thought it could have been a big turd when I saw it, and I didn't think it was a big turd. So no, so again, after Dr. G and Scott were wrong about the last match, we're all back on evil ground now, so that's good. We're all on the same page at this point with this match. So, and Scott, Dr. G didn't say anything about me poking them being wrong on the last match. I was waiting for someone to say something.
We just humor you. That's it.
I appreciate that. Thank you. It's going to take me a long time to get over that match, by the way. All right, moving on. Our final match watch of the night. I don't know where the hell I pulled this one out of my ass, but I literally was doing a YouTube search because, by the way, all these matches can be seen on YouTube, everybody. You don't need a network for this. But I was doing a YouTube search because I was trying to look for something for Baby Doll because I knew she used to be a wrestler. And this match popped up. It is from November 10th, 1984. It is the main event of the World Class Star Wars show. And my God, I can't believe this is the main event was my first note. But it is Stella May, who I had never heard of in my entire life, and Mike Von Erich versus Nicola Roberts and Gino Hernandez. And back then she's going by Nicola Roberts, which is her real name, and that's what her name is on Twitter. So I don't know where this match came out of the blue. I didn't even know this match existed, and I'm going to talk a little bit about it, and then we can all do what we will with it. First note I made is Stella May is very old. She looks, and I know Scott, I might steal your thunder out because we talked about it in chat. She looks like one of the Golden Girls. Literally, she looks like a Golden Girl. Then we go into Baby Doll is dressed like a punk rocker. She is also known as Andrea the Lady Giant, which I had no recollection of this one whatsoever. She has a little pink streak in her hair. She looks like one of the girls from Glow, is who she reminded me of. Gino has a lot of titles. He's your Texas champion. He's your American champion. He's your six-man tag team champion, the belts he holds with Jake Roberts and Chris Adams, which I have no recollection of. Apparently, Sunshine, who is a big manager in World Class, is Stella May's niece. This is where it might get a little controversial. I made a note on Mike Von Erich. Was this before, do you know if 84 was before or after he started having health problems?
I think
I looked it up. It's before he started having health problems.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, from what you say, yeah, because I think then that's when really he kind of went in his tailspin.
All right, so don't hold it against me. I put Mike looks like a mentally disturbed Opie from the Andy Griffith Show. So don't hold that against me, please.
I like that analogy, actually.
He's a very disturbing individual to look at. That's why I asked first before I made the comment. And then later, Sunshine shows up in one of those helicopters you would see on MASH, which made me laugh. And the crowd absolutely love her. And I'm like, I have never, ever heard of Sunshine having this much crowd heat. They loved her. They're going nuts for her. And I made the note, this must have been some feud for them to love Sunshine. Stella was in a pink shirt and jeans. Stella took a rope bump, which popped me a little bit because it was so funny seeing this Golden Girl take a rope bump. I also, like Mike Von Erich, did a quick move ducking the sleeper. Baby Doll was a lot of kicking and choking and took one of the worst chair shots I've ever seen in my life from Sunshine. And it was over with Stella getting the pin. Holy shit. I mean, I saw a lot of notes, but Jesus Christ, was this match awful. Dr. G, what do you think of this match?
Dud. That's what I thought of it. I mean, there was just horrible. Everything from usually the world class announcers weren't too bad. Even from that, it just sounded like they were like, what the hell is this themselves? Like it was, I don't know, it was all over the place. And then, yeah, you're right. The chair shot was horrendous. All of a sudden, this helicopter's coming in. And so it kind of shows like really there's only one part of the stadium that was full, and the rest of it was enough to have the
here's what shocked me here. Normally, world class, they had some pretty decent main events. They were really huge, but this was a main event of one of their big stadium shows. Like, why would you put this on as a main event?
Well, you know what? They got away with it because, listen, if you hear anybody, the Von Erichs were like rock stars in Texas. I mean, they would draw for anything. I mean, it didn't matter if it was Mike Von Erich, Kerry Von Erich, Kevin Von Erich, years ago, David Von Erich. They just the name Von Erich drew at that time. But, the world class, program went all over the world. I mean, I know they're really, really big over in Israel, which, is weird. You never hear that really in wrestling. But I was surprised too when I heard that was the main event. I don't even remember that. And I was watching World Class at that time. For some reason, I just do not remember this match, but now I could see why. Definitely nothing memorable. And yeah, you're right. The Stella there looked like a Golden Girl, and it was all over the place. I guess you could just sit here and talk about how bad it was all day long. And just something like seeing Nicola in it, she just seemed like it's kind of like a waste,
she didn't look very good in it either.
No, and then Gino.
What a waste! What a waste of Gino Hernandez.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, now watching that, I'm like, wow, he really had talent. He definitely could have been.
He had three titles.
Yeah. He was being built. He was being built as being the next big thing. He really was, and it's a shame that we never got to see that because he probably would have been one of the best of all time. Yeah. When his career was done.
Yeah, it's a bad match when Sunshine has the biggest is the biggest pop in the whole entire match. I mean,
Yeah.
I made that note also. Gino, what a waste of Gino Hernandez. I also made the comment that the announcer actually made a comment to cover up the bad chair shot where he said the rope absorbed some of the shot to cover up how bad it was. So you would have done, right, Dr. G? Dud?
Yeah.
All right, Scott, I'll go to you. What'd you put this as?
Oh my goodness. Yes, I did say Stella May looked like a golden girl. When Stella, I was really hoping that Sunshine was gonna take Stella May's spot when she has like the superstar entrance, like she's Rick Great American Bash. So I was like, oh, she's gonna take, her grandmother's spot. And then I have here, this is like two chicks battling outside the bowling alley. And Mike Von Erich, like, we all know like the Von Erich story, but like, oh my God, he has as much reason to be in the ring as I do, which is none. And like you guys talking about Gino, like the only like positive note here, I was like, Gino could have been a star, and it's like that's like one of the upsetting things in this match. And like I went a quarter of a star just because I don't think I'm becoming a Gino fan just off these two match watches and just all the stuff I've heard about him. So I did a quarter of a star, but I don't know how it main evented. The crowd was going nuts. Like there was something in the water in Texas. Like
yeah, I didn't get it either. Just didn't get it. So all right, so you're a quarter star. G's a dud. Colin, what did you give it?
Yeah, I mean this must have been all story on this one. The fact that the fans were all in this. I mean, if this is your main event in the Cotton Bowl, there was thousands of people there to see this. I don't understand it. I've also got the note, why is Mike teaming with a golden girl? And Sunshine with the flare entrance. I did note that at one point there was a massive right hand by Blanche onto Baby Doll. Yeah, I mean, what a waste for Gino Hernandez. It's a bit of a waste for Mike Von Erich as well. Considering that he'd be majorly popular being a Von Erich, but especially for Gino Hernandez, given that he's like Gino 3 belts. Yeah, it's just it was very, very strange. I mean, yeah, it's a dud. I did like it at the end of the match, though. Mike was very kind to his tag team partner. He went over to her and said, I'm not a lip reader, but I can imagine he went over to her and said, thank you for being my tag team partner, but more importantly, thank you for being a friend.
That's good. I like that. Thank you for being a friend. So what did you give the match, Colin? What was your rating?
Oh, it's a dud every day of the week.
I'm sorry, what? Dud?
It's a dud, yeah.
All right. I might have to put "Thank You for Being a Friend" as our mid-show song, just because you brought that up. That's actually pretty funny, so I'm gonna have it do that. Yeah. So I also went a dud. Again, for me, it was more about what a waste of Gino Hernandez, because we saw how great he was in that tag team match in our last episode. Baby Doll did not look great. So Baby Doll, if you listen to this and any chance I have to do an interview with you, please don't hold this against me. You did not look good in this match. So, and in Stella May, I would like to go back and find the history of Stella May. Maybe I have to look into that. And yeah, Mike Von Erich is a scary looking man, and I don't need to see him in another wrestling match ever again. So I did go a dud on this. So, all right. So guys, with that, we have actually come to the close of probably what will be the quickest Crock and Roll ever. And we probably should have spent another 15 minutes talking about that great Ivan Koloff match, but we are at the end, and it looks like as we stand, it looks like Brett Sawyer versus Ric Flair and the Rock and Roll Express versus DiBiase and Dr. Death are still our top 2 matches we watched out of the last 14. So with that, Scott, I am going to go over to you. I would like to say thank you for joining us for the first 2 parts of this. I'll talk about who our next guest will be on the second 2 parts in a minute. But thank you for joining us. You're always welcome back, even if you have bad opinions like you did tonight. But is there anything you would like to plug?
Well, hopefully next time I'm on, I won't have to watch a Bob Backlund or Superstar Billy Graham match. So I think since we're doing NWA, we should be fine. Yeah, as Shawn, as you know, with you starting to jump in the podcast game last year, so did I, and I'm just going to run through my gamut real quick. You can catch me on PTBN YouTube Roulette, which myself, Shawn Kidd, Logan Crossland and Jambalaya Jake. We watch random matches on YouTube and watch them together, have fun, try to critique them. It's a fun podcast. We've already done our second episode.
Wait, real quick, Scott. What is the worst match? The Ivan Koloff match you watched tonight, or the Tito Santana versus Cowboy Bob Orton 42-minute classic?
The 42-minute classic, because I don't know if you guys have listened to the pod yet. They had rounds in it like it was boxing. So, like, it was... If I had to watch that by myself, they would have just found me catatonic in the hotel room, because that match is so bad. Like, what made me get through it was, like, just riffing with Shawn, Logan, and Jake, just about, like, oh my God, can you believe, like, this match? And, like,
was it like don't they do that over in England? Sometimes they have the round.
Dr. G, it was from an old it was from American Wrestling Federation in '94. It was on for like 2 years. It was a syndicated show.
I do remember that.
And it was a title tournament final between Cowboy Bob Orton and Tito Santana in 1994. And they did 12 rounds, and it went 42 minutes, just for context. So a total Shawn pick, by the way.
But Shawn did redeem himself, because we watched the CM Punk, Eddie Guerrero, and Rey Mysterio match from IWA Mid-South, which was amazing.
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's a good show. So everybody go listen to that one. It just debuted this past weekend, so it's a fun show. Anything else, Scott?
Yes, I got a couple more. Sorry, we got distracted, Shawn. That's on me. I'm sorry. Pop Goes to the Couch. We do like the Marvel movies with Tim Capel, Shawn as well, and Andy Atherton. That's on a little bit of a hiatus. We should be picking it back up with Loki when that comes out in June. Really looking forward to that. I'm also on Blockbuster Rewind with Eric Eels and Andy Atherton. By the time you're hearing this, we have released our newest one with the first 4 films from the Friday the 13th series. That's always a fun listen for us. And then rounding it out with Battlestar in the 25th Century with Sean Kidd, which I don't know how we're going to get back to normal after this, after he called me out tonight for my Koloff thing. So we'll see how that goes. That may be on the fritz. But seriously, that's a fun episode. We go back and forth between watching Battlestar Galactica, the original version, and Buck Rogers. That I thought it'd be just me making fun of the matches, the episodes the whole time. But Shawn has me invested in this show, which is great.
Your wife apparently enjoys my commentary on that show.
No, she just enjoys it on the Pop Goes to the Couch.
Yes. Just Pop Goes to the Couch.
Yes,
okay.
Pop Goes to the Couch.
All right.
And you can find me on Twitter at Scott_Shifflett. I know I'm doing a lot of things now, but I enjoy it a lot. So thank you.
Yeah, you're on a run with me doing the most podcasts on the feed. And Callum's got new ones coming up too, I think. So Callum, let's go to you. What do you got going on?
Just recently, by the time you hear this, you would have heard the latest Special Relations podcast. If you're not interested in our rants about the proposed and then short-lived European Super League football/soccer league, don't listen to the first approximate 45 minutes of the show, because we touch on it in the introduction, and then we just went off in one. We do talk about wrestling after that. We talked about the Jericho Austin Broken Skull sessions, which was good. So it was a fun show to do. I was on Senior Video, the last episode of that with Rory. We looked at The Undertaker, He Buries Them Alive, VHS from early 1995. So it was going through the comeback from SummerSlam 94 up to Survivor Series 94. That was we made a good effort to try and make that one interesting, because the VHS itself was a bit crap. Other than that, you'll hear me on the Place to Be Nation YouTube page. I'm just trying to put stuff up there as often as possible. We're doing things as well, so you won't always hear my voice. I'm doing sort of rewinds and quadrupod showcases on there as well, so just to give you a taster of what you might be missing elsewhere. And if there's any, if you get any suggestions just on what you want to see on it, just let me know. Either stick them in the Place to Be Facebook page, or tweet me at PTB on YouTube. Just to put all the suggestions there. I'll capture them all there, because I'm always looking to. What I don't want to do is go down the route of putting stuff that I want to do. I want to make it that people actually want to watch, and obviously give us subscribe to that and follow us on twitch.tv/Place to Be Nation. We did another successful live watch last night of WrestleMania Backlash, and we made the best of a bad situation a lot of the time, given that there was zombies and stuff. It's quite strange to hear myself say that we made the best of a bad situation with zombies, but never mind. And so if you want to hear that's on video on demand, and it's also on the YouTube page as well. And it may be watch this space, because it may be dropping on the wrestling feed, an edited down version on the wrestling feed at some point in the future.
So the Twitch watches might become a podcast, is what you're saying.
They may well do. It's in negotiations just now. It may be just the best bits, just to give you a teaser of what you can expect from those, or it might be the full thing as well. But if you can't watch it live, then there'll be a couple of ways that you can go back and watch it. But come and watch it if you're not wanting to. If you're not wanting to listen to Corey Graves, come and join in the Twitch, because it's always good fun, and there's obviously the live chat. Just come and join in the chat and the banter there, because it's always good fun. Not necessarily about the wrestling that's happening in the ring, but it's always good fun regardless.
Oh no, if you're coming for wrestling commentary, it's not the show for you. If you're coming to laugh, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. Those are a lot of fun to do and to listen to, actually. So, Colin, you do the Lord's work with that feed, by the way. So, good job to you, my friend.
Thank you very much.
You're quite welcome. And then, all right, Dr. G, who let me down a little bit tonight, but what would you like to plug, Dr. G?
I try not to let you down, but sometimes,
you can't bat 1,000 all the time. You
can't. That even Hall of Famers don't bat 1,000. So
correct.
I got recently. I was on a few weeks ago. I was on the Place to Be podcast. They needed some downloads, so of course, they invited me on. We did the house show at MSG on January 31st, 1992. So that was great. So take a listen to it if you can. Now I'm just being a heel, because that's what I am, a heel anyway, by nature. And then NWA Saturday Special drops every Saturday morning. The Podfather and myself, we break down the current NWA. The last show this past Saturday, we had to rip the NWA a little bit. We try to be fair. Yes, we do love it, but sometimes there's some things that need to be fixed, and we go over that stuff. But we enjoy watching the shows, either Superpower or Power, or what's the other one that the other short one that they do. The name's escaping me that they do there.
I'm just gonna call it Static. Static.
Static. Yeah.
I don't know what it's called.
Power Surge.
Power Surge.
Power Surge. Static. Yeah, I actually like Static better, to be honest. Good. I thought it was Static. That's even the sad part. See, Shawn, you're a marketing genius over here.
I really think we should cut a promo on the NWA website, because we don't have any merch there, and I want my Strictly Business jacket.
I know. This is, what? That's another thing I'm going to rip into this week. And
that's okay. Now. We'll do our own. That's fine. Go ahead.
Yeah, we need to get the merchandise. But yeah, listen to the NWA Saturday Special. Drops every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. And you could follow me at Dr. G PTB. Love to hear from everyone. Let us know what you think. And, of course, I'm on this wonderful show, and I can't wait till we get back to watching, 1985 again. And hopefully
not far off. We're only a few months away.
Yeah, we are a few months away. But you know what? I'm enjoying doing this, too. This is good before Crockett. I think it was a good idea to kind of get a little taste and see, where things are. We've learned some things even, we got to see about Krusher Khruschev tonight. So you never know when you pick something out. We see the evolution of certain characters that,
Well, two big ones, Krusher Khruschev and that freaking Brett Sawyer match that none of us saw coming. So those are my two big ones so far.
Never knew, but that's what's going on in my world.
All right, so now that we've done 15 minutes of plugs, I'll just say you can find me on NWA Crock and Roll on Twitter, and I am on too many pods to name, so I will just plug all the feeds. Go listen to the Place to Be Wrestling Network, the Pop Experience Network, the North South feed, and the Ginny Position. All have great shows on them with a diverse group of pods and great people on them. And now I will drop the bomb for our next episode. And Scott, I know you're going to be very upset you're not going to be on our next 2 episodes. So our next 2 episodes are part 3 and part 4 of our Before Crockett Watches, our final parts. And our guest for those 2 will be one Matt Souza. And I'm going to give you a sneak peek.
Yes.
I will give you a sneak peek of some of the talent we will be looking at on our next show. And Scott, try not to be jealous. We will have Paul Jones. We will have Jimmy Valiant. Because Sousa's on, I got to have Jones and Valiant. I have finally, guys, for Column and Dr. G, I have tracked down a match with Buzz Tyler. We are finally going to see a Buzz Tyler match. How excited are you to see Buzz Tyler? I can hear it.
That's. I'm counting the seconds here, the minutes everywhere. Whatever. I just can't wait.
What if
Match that
I
no one,
go ahead? What Column?
the match that no one believed existed.
Well, I won't tell you who he's facing. What if I told you we are going to see Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer versus Tito Santana?
That's an interesting match. Never knew
Okay.
that took place.
Wait.
I can go on board with that one.
All right. What if I told you we are going to see Nick Bockwinkel versus Dusty Rhodes for the AWA World Title?
Oh, I
Huh?
kind of like this. I like this.
All right.
Go
So
on board with that one.
So there is a sneak peek of 2 of the matches we're going to see, and I cannot wait to see the shit on and chicanery of the Paul Jones and the Jimmy Valiant. So just like the rest of them, I mix in a little of controversy with some things that could take us by surprise. So that is a sneak peek for what you guys will see on episode number 17. Whenever we come back in a few weeks, it might be a month. I think we have a little bit of a break in between this one. But anyway, thank you for joining us on Crock and Roll episode number 16. Scott, always a pleasure. We will definitely have you back on. I'm not going to hold the Koloff match against you because I can't hold it against Dr. G, and he's my co-host, so you can be back on too. So with that, everybody, contain your excitement there, Scott. So everybody, thanks for listening, and we will see you for episode number 17. Take care, everybody.